Welcome back to Star Wars Fanatic, the YouTube channel where we dig deep into the lore, deeper meanings, and characters of Star Wars, the greatest franchise ever created. It's been a while since I last uploaded, and I wanted to start by addressing why. Life is a way of throwing things at you when you least expect it, and lately things have been harder than usual. Work's been stressful, overwhelming in ways I didn't see coming, but that isn't the entire reason for my absence. I lost my best friend, my dog, Buddy. Cancer took him from me, and if you've ever lost a pet, you know they become more than just a pet, and you know that kind of pain that losing them causes. It isn't just losing an animal, it's losing a constant presence, a piece of your life that was always there, a member of your family. He was part of my daily routine, part of the quiet moments that made difficult times bearable. Now there's just this absence, this feeling that something is missing, and no matter what I do, I can't fill that space. Grief's strange. Some days I feel like I'm moving forward, other days it's like hitting a wall. It comes in waves, and the hardest part is knowing that it doesn't really go away. You just learn to carry it. But in moments like this, I turn to stories, because stories remind us that loss, sacrifice, and struggle are part of life. They remind us that pain isn't meaningless, that sometimes we fight battles we know we won't win because someone has to. And that brings me to Luthen Rael. Luthen's a character who embodies sacrifice, not the kind that gets celebrated, not the kind that gets remembered. He isn't Luke Skywalker, the hero with a legend behind him. He isn't Leia, who leads with hope. He isn't even Cassian Andor, who gets to play a direct role in securing the Death Star plans, yet still becomes forgotten. Luthen fights a war he knows he won't live to see the end of. His monologue in Andor is one of the most haunting, powerful moments in Star Wars history. It's not a speech meant to inspire troops. It's not about victory. It's about loss. It's about damnation. And it's about coming to terms with who he is. And before we break it down line by line, I have to ask, who is Luthen Rael really? Think about that for a moment. And if you're new here, please go on and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Star Wars content. And you won't want to miss everything I have lined up for Andor Season 2. Also, consider joining as a member, where you'll get exclusive content. And when I get a few more members, I will start members-only live streams just for you. Now, let's get on with it. Luthen Rael is a mystery, and Andor has been careful not to reveal too much about his past. But that hasn't stopped fans from speculating. There's a Jedi theory. One of the most popular theories is that Luthen Rael was once a Jedi who survived Order 66. There's evidence to support this, the way he carries himself, the way he seems to sense things before they happen, the way he conceals his true self behind an elaborate persona. He's obsessed with artifacts from the past, specifically Jedi and Sith relics. His collection contains a kyber crystal, the symbol of the Jedi's power, but not just any kyber crystal. One of a lot of fans will recognize from the old expanded universe, Legends as it's now called, a sky crystal from the Rakatan Empire. And Luthen Rael even gives it to Cassian Andor as a pendant, telling him it's a payment on something bigger. If Luthen was a Jedi, he's unlikely any we've seen before. He doesn't hold on to their teachings, at least not in the way we expect. He isn't preaching about balance or restraint. He's weaponizing the war. He's doing what the Jedi never could, fighting the Empire with their own tools. But if he was a Jedi, what happened to him? Did he survive the Purge only to realize that the Jedi's way of thinking was a failure? Did he turn his back on the Order long before it fell, or is he something else entirely? Then there's the fallen politician theory. Another possibility is that Luthen was once a senator or a figure within the Republic. He understands how the system works, how the Empire operates, and how to manipulate people into playing their roles. He knows how to move between the shadows and the light, which suggests a background in politics or espionage. If he was once part of the Republic, imagine the guilt he must carry. The realization that he was part of the system that allowed the Empire to rise. Maybe he saw something happening in real time but didn't act fast enough. Maybe he did act, but it wasn't enough. Now he's making up for lost time, willing to do anything to tear down the monster he helped create. Then there's the broken revolutionary theory. The idea that Luthen Rael was never part of the Republic. Never a Jedi, never anything but a man who saw tyranny rising and decided to fight. Maybe he lost everything to the Empire. Maybe he was just another citizen who realized that waiting for heroes was pointless, that if no one else was going to stop Palpatine, then he would. And that falls in line with the whole idea of Rogue One. No Jedi were coming to save them. This theory makes Luthen Rael even more tragic because it means he was never trained for this. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't born into power. He became a monster out of necessity. He may have been born into wealth, but that doesn't automatically equate to power in the Empire. Then there's the theory that Luthen Rael may be a secret Sith or other dark side user, possibly even secretly trained by Palpatine to start a rebellion in order to legitimize the iron fist in which Palpatine rules. I like this one a lot. Came up with this idea a couple years ago and held on to it ever since then. Is it likely? Probably not, but it's fun. Whoever he was before doesn't matter anymore, because by the time we meet him in Andor, he's already given up his past. Now, let's break down his monologue line by line, at least the first part of it. Calm, kindness, kinship, love. I've given up all chance of inner peace. He starts with the simplest, most devastating truth. He knows he will never find peace again, not in his lifetime. He has made choices that cannot be undone, walked a path that has no end for him. Others might get to live in the world he's trying to build, but he won't. I've made my mind a sunless place, a sunless space, a place with no warmth, no light. Luthen doesn't allow himself the luxury of hope. He can't afford to, because hope can make you hesitate, and hesitation is death. And his actions bring about darkness, both inside of him and to those affected by his choices. I share my dreams with ghosts. This one is the most haunting lines in all of Star Wars. Luthen Rael is surrounded by the dead, people who fought before him, people who won't live to see the galaxy change, and he knows that one day he will be one of those ghosts, another nameless sacrifice in a war that never ends. Well, we know it ends, but he doesn't. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do. This tells us everything about Luthen Rael's mindset. He's been fighting this war since the beginning of the Empire, 15 years. That means he was planning rebellion before most people even realized what the Empire truly was. And he knew, even then, that he would never walk away from it. I burn my life to make a sunrise I know I'll never see. This is the line, the one that defines him. He will never see the rebellion win. He knows that. He's already accepted that his role is to die in the dark so others can live in the light. So, what do I sacrifice? Everything. This is Luthen Rael's reality. His soul, his conscience, his peace, everything is a sacrifice. He is already dead in every way that matters in his own eyes. So, after all this, who is Luthen Rael? A Jedi in exile, a fallen politician, a man who becomes a monster to fight monsters. Maybe we'll never get a definite answer. And maybe we don't need one. Because at the end, Luthen Rael isn't a man anymore. He's a warning, a symbol of what happens when the fight against oppression consumes you. And I just hope Andor Season 2 gives him the closure he deserves. I plan on making another video breaking down the rest of Luthen Rael's monologue. I wanted to keep it kind of short, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll also talk about the music and the lighting of the scene and how every nuance of the environment plays a part in Luthen Rael's character. Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and consider joining the channel as a member so you get exclusive content, and I will be starting to do live streams as soon as I get a few more members. Until the next time, may the Force be with you, always.